Hello everyone, I am Dr. Anjum Rashid. Welcome to my channel Pediatrics and Life Tips. In this video, I will talk about Alagille syndrome, which is also known as arteriohepatic dysplasia. Alagille syndrome is a rare genetic disease. It is an autosomal dominant disorder due to defects in Notch signaling pathway. It is named after Daniel Alagille, a French pediatrician who first described this syndrome. Main body system affected are liver, heart, skeleton, eye, kidneys, and face. Now I will discuss the etiology and pathophysiology of Alagille syndrome. It has autosomal dominant inheritance with variable expression. 90% of cases are due to mutation in JAK1 gene. The JAK1 gene product is a ligand for Notch1 receptor, and this interaction leads to intracellular signaling cascade, which is important for cell fate and differentiation. Now 5 to 7% of the cases are due to complete deletion of JAK1 gene, and only 1% are due to mutation in Notch2 gene. Now I will discuss the clinical features of Alagille syndrome. Liver disease is present in almost all patients. In this, there is reduction or paucity of interlobular bile ducts in the portal triads. Normally, bile ducts carry bile from the liver to the gallbladder and intestine. And if there are a small number of bile ducts, then the bile is trapped in the liver and cause damage. Infants usually present with cholestatic jaundice, dark urine and pale stool. Styria is due to fat malabsorption. In the stool are loose, bulky and oily. Hepatosplenomegaly is common. There is severe pruritus due to accumulation of bile salts and bile acids in the serum. Xanthomas are also present in this patient, especially on the extensor surfaces near the joints. These are small yellow-white nodules due to accumulation of lipid and cholesterol in the skin. In these patients, fat-soluble vitamin deficiency can occur. Vitamin D deficiency can result in rickets or osteopenia. Vitamin A deficiency can result in night blindness or thick coarse skin. Vitamin E deficiency cause areflexia, ataxia, decreased position and vibratory sensations. And vitamin K deficiency can result in bleeding episodes, including intracranial hemorrhage. Progressive liver disease can lead to cirrhosis and liver failure. Portal hypertension can result in ascites, variceal hemorrhage, and hypersplenism. There is increased risk of spontaneous bacterial peritonitis in patients with ascites. There is also increased risk of hepatocellular carcinoma in old age. However, few patients have no liver disease. In Alagille syndrome, heart disease is also an important feature. Cardiac murmurs are present in about 95% of the cases, and the most important is the peripheral pulmonary artery stenosis, which is present in 2/3 of the cases. Other complex congenital heart diseases which are present in these patients include tetralogy of Fallot, ventricular septal defect, atrial septal defect, patent ductus arteriosus, pulmonary atresia, and coarctation of aorta. There is also association of Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome in some patients. Now, congenital heart diseases may be the sole manifestation of Alagille syndrome. Alagille syndrome patients have characteristic face. They have a prominent broad forehead, deep-set eyes with moderate hypertelorism, straight nose with a bulbous tip, prominent mandible and a pointed chin. Most of these patients have a triangular face. Ocular anomalies is also an important component of Alagille syndrome. In this, the most important is the posterior embryotoxin, which is present in 75% of the cases. It is a prominence of Schwab's ring or line at a point where corneal endothelium and uveal trabecular meshwork join. In some of these patients, there is also Axenfeld anomaly in which iris is attached to the decimate membrane. Other ocular anomalies which may be present include microcornea, optic disc drusen, shallow anterior chamber, retinitis pigmentosa. However, visual prognosis is generally good. Skeletal anomalies are also common in Alagille syndrome, and the most important is the butterfly vertebra, which is a segmentation anomaly. There may be spina bifida occulta, fusion of the adjacent vertebrae, or hemivertebrae. Other less common skeletal anomalies are absence of 12th rib, craniosynostosis, shortening of radius and ulna, and shortening of distal phalanges of hands, and because of this, the fingers are fusiform. Vascular anomalies may also occur in Alagille syndrome. and the most common is the basilar artery or middle cerebral artery aneurysm. Other are the internal carotid artery anomalies, Moyamoya disease, aortic aneurysm, and renal artery stenosis. Now, renal anomalies may occur in 39% of the cases. The most common is renal dysplasia resulting in proteinuria. Other anomalies include renal artery stenosis, lipoid nephrosis, or glomerulosclerosis. These result in chronic hypertension. Functional defect resulting in renal tubular acidosis may also occur in Alagille syndrome. In patients with Alagille syndrome, growth failure and pubertal delay is common, and this is due to malabsorption, malnutrition, hypothyroidism, and growth hormone insensitivity. In few cases, pancreas may be involved, and the hysteria may be due to pancreatic insufficiency, and insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus may also occur. Now, patients with Alagille syndrome have mild developmental delay and mental retardation. Now, I will discuss the laboratory studies. Important evaluation is the liver function test. In this, there is conjugated hyperbilirubinemia, especially in the infancy. There is high gamma-glutamyl transpeptidase level, high serum cholesterol and triglyceride. Serum bile acids are also elevated. Prothrombin time and activated partial thromboplastin time is raised, and serum albumin is low in severe cases. Now, there may be mild hemolytic anemia due to vitamin E deficiency, and pancytopenia may result from hypersplenism. Now, 25-hydroxy vitamin D and vitamin A levels should be measured. Imaging studies can reveal biliary anatomy. These include liver ultrasound, HIDA scan, endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography, or percutaneous transhepatic cholangiography. Liver biopsy and histology findings include inflammation and proliferation of bile ducts in the early life, but later there is subsidence of inflammation and reduction in the number and diameter of bile ducts. And serial assessment shows progressive destruction of bile ducts. Now, liver biopsy is not recommended for confirmation of the Alagille syndrome. Now, detailed cardiac assessment by a cardiologist is important. It includes ECG, echocardiography, and screening for vascular anomalies if the patient is symptomatic. Anteroposterior spinal X-ray should be done in order to see butterfly vertebra, hemivertebra, and fused vertebra. Detailed ophthalmic assessment including slit lamp examination should be done, and the most common anomaly is the posterior embryotoxin. Now, complete renal assessment is important. This includes renal ultrasound, renal function test including renal tubular functions, and pancreatic function test should also be done in case if there is pancreatic insufficiency. Genetic testing is important to confirm the diagnosis. Chromosomal analysis is done for mutation of JAK1 gene, and DNA sequencing is used in case if there is complete deletion of JAK1 gene. Now, follow-up routine ultrasonography should be done in older patients in order to detect hepatoma and hepatocellular carcinoma. Now, I will discuss the management. In patients with cholestatic jaundice, nutritional replacement is important. This includes fat-soluble vitamins, that is vitamin A, E, D, and K. Calcium phosphate and zinc supplements should also be given, and water-soluble vitamins about 2 times the recommended daily allowance should also be given. These patients require a diet which is high in carbohydrate and medium-chain triglyceride. If there is poor weight gain, then drip feeds via nasogastric tube or gastrostomy should be given. In some patients, essential fatty acid supplementation may be required. Pruritus can be treated with antihistamine, which include hydroxyzine or diphenhydramine. In severe cases, ursodeoxycholic acid is used. It is a choleretic agent which increases bile flow and also decreases serum cholesterol. Cholestyramine can be used, which is a bile acid binding drug. Rifampin is used in severe cases of pruritus. In case of medically refractory pruritus, partial external biliary diversion is done. In this, an intestinal segment is used as a biliary conduit. One end of the segment is attached to the gallbladder and the other end is brought out to the skin and is connected to a ostomy bag. Now, I will briefly discuss the management of progressive liver disease and portal hypertension in these patients. For variceal hemorrhage, careful blood transfusion should be given and over-transfusion should be avoided. Drugs such as vasopressin and octreotide can be used. Sclerotherapy and endoscopic variceal ligation is helpful. Pediatric Sengstaken Blackmore tube can also be used. In case of ascites, restrict sodium intake to about 1 to 2 milliequivalent per kilogram per day. Fluid restriction is not required if there is adequate renal output. Diuretics such as spironolactone or thiazide and furosemide can be used. Paracentesis with intravenous albumin infusion can be used in severe cases. In case of hypersplenism, fresh frozen plasma transfusion, vitamin K, and platelet transfusion may be required. Now, indications of liver transplantation in these patients include progressive hepatic dysfunction, severe portal hypertension, failure to thrive, intractable pruritus, and osteodystrophy. Now, all cardiac patients except peripheral pulmonary artery stenosis should be given subacute bacterial endocarditis prophylaxis. Standard immunization plus hepatitis A and B vaccine should be given to patients with liver disease. And multivalent pneumococcal vaccine should be given if there is ascites because of risk of subacute bacterial peritonitis. Other management include cardiac surgery for structural cardiac or vascular diseases. Also manage chronic renal disease and hypertension. Asymptomatic ocular and vertebral anomalies usually does not require treatment. Now, activity is not limited unless significant intracardiac disease is present. And patient with hypersplenism or splenomegaly should avoid contact sports. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel.